Bharat, welcome to Saptarishis Astrology. I have been learning astrology since few years, and I came across a concept called astrocartography. I want to know what is astrocartography and why we should study this subject.
Okay, Yuvank, thank you very much for inviting me on your channel, on Saptarishi's Astrology channel. Okay, I'm going to first answer this question about what is so important about astrocartography and how it can add value to your astrology. Okay, every new astrological stream that you learn adds value to whatever you know. Astrocartography is a value addition to astrology, and I will show you with some very practical examples how astrocartography can be used, okay, where it can be used, and what benefits you can derive from astrocartography. And also, the most important thing is astrocartography is powerful, but it's also simple. So you don't have to spend many years learning it. You maybe need to spend 1 week, 10 days, and you learn it, okay? And you can see how powerfully then you can use it. So let me just share my presentation and then we can, answer your question completely. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Okay. Is my screen visible now?
yes,
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Astrocartography was invented by a gentleman in the US called Mr. Jim Lewis. Okay. He invented this in the late 60s based on the work of some other astrologers in the US before Jim Lewis. Okay. And it became popular in America from the year maybe late 60s or the 1970s onwards. The important thing, Yuvank, is astrology is your horoscope, which is a view of the planets from where you are born. Okay? You were born in New Delhi. I'm just taking an example of your chart because you're okay with it. You were born in New Delhi, and at the time of your birth, from a New Delhi position, if you were in New Delhi, you saw Rahu in Pisces in the fourth house. Is that correct?
Yes,
Now, at that point of time, only in New Delhi, Rahu was in Pisces in the fourth house. Rahu was in Pisces all over the world at that point of time. Okay. But it was in the fourth house only from New Delhi. If you move from New Delhi to some other, maybe if you move to Kanyakumari, okay, Rahu would, at that point, at that exact time of your birth, Rahu would have still been in Pisces, but it would have not been the fourth house. It would have been some other house, maybe third house, maybe fifth house, wherever. Okay. So, wherever a child is born, suppose a child is born here and now, exactly this point of time, it's about 5:15 p.m. or whatever in India. Okay. USA is, let's say, 12 hours behind. In some places of USA is 12 hours behind India. Okay. But even though the US is 12 hours behind, if a child is born in New Delhi just now at this moment, and a child is born in the US at this moment, both the both the babies will have planets exactly in the same Rashi. In the same Rashi. Okay. Only the Lagna will vary because the Lagna is determined by the place of birth. Rashi is not determined by the place of birth. Okay. It's exactly wherever you're born, it depends on the time of birth. This time now, US behind by 12 hours doesn't matter. It will be exactly the same Rashis. Now, I just want to start by giving you a very practical example on the use of astrocartography. After we examine the very practical example, then we will look very quickly on how you can use astrocartography in your day-to-day life. Okay. Now, anyone who lives in India has heard of this name. Have you heard of this name?
yes, Anurag Kashyap.
Yeah, Anurag Kashyap is a very famous Hindi film director. Recently, he moved out of Mumbai. You may have heard of that. He moved out of Mumbai okay, because he had a lot of problems in Mumbai. His mental health was not okay. He got into drinking, etc. So he said there was too much stress, pressure, whatever, and he moved out of Bollywood. He moved to Mollywood, which is Malayalam cinema. Okay, so he makes now cinema which is connected with the Malayalam film industry, and he may be operating out of Cochin, which is the hub of the Malayalam cinema. Okay, and he says that after moving to Malayalam film industry and after moving to somewhere in South India, most probably Cochin, his depression was cured. He got rid of his depression just by moving out from Mumbai to maybe Bangalore or Cochin or wherever, somewhere in South India. Okay. Now, his dasha is not changing. Nothing is changing. Everything is the same. Yet, by just moving out from place A to place B, now this is all on record. Okay. I mean, I have taken this from a news clipping, which is very recent. Okay. This came just a few days back. Okay. It came on the 23rd of, if you see at the bottom of the screen, this is 23rd August. Okay. Updated 23rd August. So it's a very new news clipping. So by moving out of a place, he cured himself of his depression and drinking or whatever mental health problem that he had. Okay. Now, you look at this you look at his horoscope. Okay, you look at his horoscope. Now, what is available on the internet is he was born on the 10th of September 72. Okay, based on the available events in his life, I have rectified the time of birth. I'm not sharing it here because it's not nice to share all these things without the person's permission. Okay, in your case, I had the permission. In his case, I don't have the permission, but I think I've come to a very reasonable time of birth. Okay, now if I cast the astrocartography chart of Anurag Kashyap, okay, you will see Mumbai is here. This black arrow shows Mumbai. Can you see it? Black dot, black arrow shows Mumbai. Now you see what are the astrocartography lines. These are called angular lines. Angular lines. Okay. These two lines, Mumbai is between Mercury line. This symbol is Mercury symbol, and this is the Neptune symbol. Okay. This is Neptune. So Mumbai is between Neptune and Mercury. Okay. If Mumbai is between Mercury and Neptune, you see this Mercury MC line. Mercury is MC line. MC means medium Kohli. MC means 10th house cusp. It's equal to a 10th house cusp. It is almost like Mercury being in his 10th house. Okay. That is MC. Now, Mercury is 169 kilometers from Mumbai. It's given here on the right-hand side. Can you see that clearly? Yeah. Mercury is 169 kilometers from Mumbai. Mercury is 169 kilometers from Mumbai, and Neptune is 179 kilometers from Mumbai. Now, these angular lines are effective for 700 kilometers from the place. Okay. Now, here it is 169 and 179 kilometers. Okay. So it's pretty close, because after 300, 350 kilometers, the lines start becoming weak. Now, as an astrologer, or as somebody who wants to become an astrologer, do you know what Mercury in the 10th house means? Generally, what would the person's profession be connected to?
Mercury related things, like we can be connected to singing, types, or something.
Can be connected to communication, writing.
Yeah.
He writes his scripts, he directs. Okay, pure Mercurian activities. Okay, and Mercury is so close to Mumbai. Okay, and Mercury is MC, which means 10th house cusp. In addition to Mercury, there is Neptune AC. AC is the ascendant. Okay, so it is almost like saying that he has his ascendant, he has Neptune in the ascendant and Mercury in the 10th house. Now, do you know what Neptune signifies? Mercury signifies Maya and illusion. Sorry, Neptune signifies Maya. Neptune signifies Maya and illusion. Okay, Brahm. Brahm jante hai na? Brahm. It makes you, it puts you into a false self of illusion. It leads you to disillusionment. Okay. Now, Mercury is connected with alcoholism. It is connected with drugs, and it is also connected with films. Okay, because if it is connected with Maya, then it's connected with Maya Nagari, which is Mumbai. Okay, but it will give you films. It may also give you problems with alcohol. Okay, so he had both. He had tremendous success in Mumbai as a filmmaker. He also had problems with alcohol, and all this is common information. Okay, this is information from public sources. So he had this problem. Now he decided that he had enough of Mumbai, and he shifted his base somewhere in South India, but he is now making Malayalam films or connected with the Malayalam film industry. Now you see that is Malayalam film industry is Cochin. You can see this red arrow on top. This is pointing towards Cochin. Okay. Now Cochin is under a green circle. This means in Cochin, I have the Cochin data in the box below. In Cochin, there is no Neptune line. Okay, the Neptune line has vanished. In Mumbai, there was a Neptune ascendant line, but in Cochin, there is no Neptune in the ascendant. There is only Mercury. Correct? There is only Mercury, and Mercury has a round circle, which means Mercury is at its zenith, which means that Mercury is not only in the 10th house, that is number one, but Mercury is in the 12 o'clock position, which means in that place, Mercury is right over your head, not only in the 10th house, but right over your head physically. Okay, Mercury is there. So it makes Mercury extremely powerful. Okay, and he says, my drinking habit and whatever problems I had has vanished. And he's more immersed in his work, and he says he's doing fantastic work. Why? Because he has moved into an extremely powerful Mercury zone, and Neptune has vanished. Okay, in Cochin. So just by moving to a new location, he has resolved some of his problems. Okay, now, in addition to Mercury in the 10th house, there's a crossing of Moon Chiron. There's a crossing of Mars Saturn. There's a crossing of Sun Saturn. There's a crossing of, there's a Chiron in Zenith. Okay, Chiron in Zenith. Now, this is very important because these are not angular lines. What lines you see here? Okay, astrocartography is concerned only with Kendra houses 1, 4, 7, 10. That's it. They are not concerned with the other houses, because a planet in 1, 4, 7, 10 are the strongest planets. They give the most visible results. Okay, so astrocartography has AC, which is ascendant, MC, which is 10th house, DC, which is 7th house, and IC, which is the 4th house. They are concerned only with these four. Okay, but in some cases, there are lines which are crossing. These lines which are crossing, for example, here near Jaipur, the Neptune ascendant line and Mercury MC line are crossing near Jaipur. Can you see this? They are crossing near Jaipur. So what happens when the lines cross? The effect or the energy of this crossing goes across this longitude. This is called the longitude. The horizontal line is called the longitude. You know, this longitude, it keeps on going across the world. So across the world. So any city which is on the same longitude as Jaipur will feel the effect of ascendant Neptune and 10th house Mercury. They will feel wherever they are, okay, on this longitude. Jaipur's longitude, Jaipur's latitude, not longitude. Longitude is this vertical and latitude is this. So on this latitude, they will feel the effect of this crossing across the world. Okay, now, So these are the latitude lines: Moon, Chiron, Mars, Saturn, Sun, Saturn, and Chiron in zenith. Okay. Now, I'm not going into the interpretation of this, because I'm going to show you where you can find this interpretation on a free calculator. Okay. So you can work out. So really, Moon Chiron crossing is like Moon and Chiron together in one house. Okay. If you get a UT, okay. So if you have a Moon Chiron placement in single house, how you will interpret it? Mars Saturn, how you will interpret it? You know how to interpret Mars Saturn. Okay. You know how to interpret Sun Saturn. Okay. Maybe some clash with authority and things like that. I will explain to you what Chiron means in a subsequent slide. But the most important point of this slide is that just by moving from here to here, he has moved away from his Neptune line, and he has got into a very strong Mercury zone, which is shown by this green circle. Okay, and he has overcome many of his problems. Now, I just want to take another practical example. This is a post in Instagram on the 19th of August, a few days back. Okay, Instagram post: an Indian traveler went to a country called Georgia, which is part of the Commonwealth of Independent States, former Russia. Okay, he went to Georgia for a holiday. He went to Georgia for a holiday the second time. He had gone once to Georgia for holiday in 2019, and again he went in 2025. Now he says that he had a very difficult time at the Georgia airport because the immigration there would not let him enter the country even though he had all the valid documents. Okay. He said he had a very difficult time even with the local people in Georgia. He was not able to get along with the local people in Georgia very easily. So number one, he had a tough time in customs and immigration. He had a tough time after entering the country, okay, because for some reason the people there were not welcoming, okay. But in the same post, other people have written that we have met some of the sweetest people in Georgia. Some other guy saying we have never experienced any such thing. People were too sweet and the country is gorgeous. Okay, Yuvank. Now you see two sets of tourists. One tourist has a very bad experience in a place, and the others are saying, no, it was fantastic. Everything was nice. So some line for this person based on his birth chart over Georgia. Maybe he has Mars over Georgia. Mars in the ascendant over Georgia, which means fights. Okay. Ascendant means if you have Mars in the ascendant, you're going to fight. And if Mars in ascendant is going over Georgia and you're traveling to Georgia, you're not going to have a good time. Okay. So you should not go to places where you have very difficult planetary combination. Like if you go to a country where there is Saturn in the ascendant in a particular country based on your chart, you should not go there because you will not have a good holiday. I mean, it will be tough. Okay, so I am just telling you how practically you can utilize astrocartography to decide everything: where you should study, where you should work, where you should go on a holiday. All this can be decided by astrocartography. So it becomes a very good additional input for Vedic astrology, because as far as I know, Vedic astrology cannot identify a city. It cannot identify a country. Please go to this country, you will do better. Vedic astrology, as far as I know, it can say that go to east, go to west, north, south, southeast, southwest. So astrocartography can tell you to which country and to which city in the country must you go. Okay. So which is a very valuable input for people who want to go somewhere. Now this is your astrocartography chart. Okay. You were born in New Delhi. You are currently in Bareilly studying biotechnology. Okay. In Bareilly, you don't have an angular line. You don't have a 1, 4, 7, 10 line. Okay, you don't have 1, 4, 7, 10 line going over. All these are 1, 4, 7, 10 lines. Okay, Kendra lines. You don't have a 1, 4, 7, 10 angular line over Bareilly. But I told you this latitude crossing, I told you. But you have moon in zenith at that latitude, at the latitude of Bareilly. This moon is somewhere, in somewhere, but on the same longitude, on the same latitude. Okay, so you are feeling the effect of moon in its zenith peak. Okay, but the thing is, Yuvank, these angular lines give, you can feel the presence of the angular line 1, 4, 7, 10. Okay, but these latitude lines are more internal energies. Okay, you won't see it so easily, but you will feel it, but you will not see it so easily. Okay, so in Bareilly, I've given you a kind of an analysis that you're very emotionally receptive in Bareilly because moon as it is at its zenith as a latitude. Okay, you are very emotionally receptive in Bareilly, and you have a Sun Mars crossing in Bareilly, not an angular line, but a crossing line at the latitude. Sun Mars crossing, which means Sun is life, which means Sun is bio, Sun is Jeev, Mars is technology. So for biotechnology, it may be a good place for you to be in. Okay, Sun is medicine, Mars is technology. So biotechnology is about the about using technology in medicine or technology for the human life or something like that. Okay, correct. So Bareilly may be a good place. It can be a decent place. Okay, but if you have to look at the map of India or the map of the world and say where in the world can you go or where in India can you go so that you can be more successful with your education. Okay, where can you go? You now see you have Jupiter in the 10th house. MC is 10th house. Jupiter in the 10th house is going over Kabul. You can't go to Kabul in Afghanistan, not possible. It's going over some parts of Pakistan. You can't go to some parts of Pakistan, but you can go to Gujarat, either to Jamnagar or more specifically Porbandar, because this Jupiter line goes right over Porbandar. You can't see that Porbandar because it's a little small, so I couldn't capture it in this map, but Porbandar is just below Jamnagar. So whether you go to Jamnagar or whether you go to Porbandar, okay, both are in Gujarat. You see that Jupiter is in the 10th house cusp, which means it can give you recognition for education. And it's a very powerful line. You see, and Jupiter MC line, if you see on the right, is only 15 kilometers from Porbandar. And the lines are valid for 700 kilometers effective. But if it is only 15 kilometers, which means you get a very strong impact of Porbandar for education in your horoscope. Okay. Similarly, you have crossing of Moon, Pluto, and all this. All this can be explained. But the most important thing is that, see, this Moon, Pluto crossing. Moon, Pluto crossing is like having Moon and Pluto in one house, which means your mind will be transformed. Your mind will start thinking differently. Moon, Uranus crossing, your communication will change. Your mental communication will change. Moon, Venus will make you a little more loving and caring and all that. And Mars, Saturn, Mars, Saturn, stop, start, yes, no, little bit, all that is also there. Okay. But the most important thing is that you have the great support of Jupiter, which is only 15 kilometers away, and Jupiter is angular, whereas all these are not angular. These are on latitude. Okay. Now, this is if I have to look at your education. Okay. Now, this is your birth chart. Okay. This is your birth chart. Now, I've given you North Indian, South Indian, Western, whoever wants to see, whichever you can see. Okay. You have Sagittarius Lagna. Okay. Now, I, I have made this to show you how to make a relocated chart. Okay. Which means if you move from Delhi to Bareilly, how to make your Bareilly chart. If you move from Delhi to Porbandar, how to make your Porbandar chart. If you move from Delhi to Japan, how to make your Japan chart. Okay. Now, I have just recorded this video. I will just narrate it as the video goes on. Okay. Now, you see, this is the background is your natal chart. In order to convert this to a Bareilly chart, I am not changing any of this. Birth date, I'm not changing. Okay. Time of birth, I'm not changing. Whatever it is there. I am not changing the city name. Okay. I am not changing the name of the country. I am not changing the time zone. I am only putting the coordinates of Bareilly instead of Delhi. You know the coordinates of Delhi, Bareilly, this is 7925 longitude and 2821. Okay. Delhi was 77 longitude. Okay. Bareilly is 79 something. Delhi is 77 something. Okay. Are you clear about this?
Yes.
So if you have to make your relocated chart for any city, any country of the world, okay, you will not change the birth date. You will not change the time of birth. You will not change the original city, birth city. You will not change this. You will not change the time zone. You will only change the latitude and longitude. You will change this from the original to the longitude and latitude of the new city. Is that correct? Have you got that point?
Yes.
Okay. So this is it, and you say okay, and this becomes your Bareilly chart. What happens in your Bareilly chart? What was your Lagna degrees in Delhi?
12.
12, correct? This become 14 degrees 19 minutes Bareilly. Okay. What has happened? The Rashi chart has not changed much. But do you see the difference in the Navamsa?
I have Venus in the second house in Navamsa, and it says I am not familiar with the South Indian chart.
No, okay. So, yeah, so in your natal Navamsa, your ascendant is with Ketu and Moon in Cancer.
Yeah.
Correct? Now, your ascendant has moved to Leo with Venus.
Yes.
So, Bareilly के बाजार में झुमका गिरा रे. Story has changed. See the time, you have just barely moved a few 100 kilometers from Delhi, but the Navamsa story and the divisional chart story has changed. Okay, very significantly, because having the ascendant with Ketu and Moon in a Cancer sign is different from having Venus in the ascendant in Leo sign or Leo Amsa, the Navamsa. Okay, it's a different story. Okay. Okay. Now, Yuvank, this is your natal D24, the chart for education. Okay. Chaturvimsamsa. Okay. Or this is the Bareilly D24. I have already taught you how to relocate, how to make the relocation. Then you go to the divisional chart. This is your Bareilly divisional chart D24. This is your Porbandar divisional chart D24 chart. Now you see, in New Delhi, your ninth house has of education, of higher education, of gurus, okay, has Saturn, Moon, retrograde Mercury. Okay, not a great combination, though Saturn in its own house, but Moon is not well placed. Okay, Mercury is looking back at the 8th house. not so great, I would think so. Okay, but it's still good for Jyotish if you're studying Jyotish, but you want to study medicine and biotechnology. Okay, now if you look at your D24 Bareli, then your ninth house moves to Pisces. The ninth Amsa is Pisces. Okay, and Jupiter goes into which house? It goes into the fourth house.
Okay.
Not a bad thing. Jupiter in the fourth house is good for education. Okay, but now you come to Porbandar. In Porbandar, if you relocate to Porbandar and if you look at your D24, your Jupiter moves to your ninth house.
Yes.
And the ninth lord of the Amsa lord moves into the seventh house. And the seventh lord moves into the fifth house. Okay, the seventh lord sun moves into the fifth house. Yeah, it moves into the fifth house. So it's a far superior D24 chart, Porbandar chart, which is borne out. How did you come to Porbandar? You cannot do relocation for every city in the world. It's not possible. But you look at the astrocartography map, you see where if you're looking at education or if you're looking at a legal kind of a work, then Jupiter lines are very good. So you look where Jupiter is in your astrocartography map and you then do a relocation chart. A relocation chart is very easy, and then you go into the divisional chart. Okay. Okay. Now, how to make an astrocartography map? Okay. The first thing you have to do is to log into astro.com. Okay, astro.com, you go into this drop-down list, you go into Astro Click Travel. You will come to the login page, you create your username, password, okay? And you come to the data entry screen, okay? You key in all the data. Okay, you've come to your map. You've just come to your map. You were born here. This shows the place of birth, this red circle. You expand the map by clicking on the plus sign. Okay. You expand the map by clicking on this plus sign and you look at where Bareilly is. Bareilly is here. Okay. Porbandar is here. You can, if you expand the map, you will be able to see Porbandar here and Bareilly here and New Delhi here. And you also spend some time in Gorakhpur. I didn't examine your Gorakhpur story, but you can examine. Okay. And once you click on any location, you will get all the details. So if I click on Porbandar, I get all this. Okay. Jupiter 18 kilometers, this, that, whatever. Okay. This whole story is here, and the analysis of that is also here. How to analyze it. And you have one more thing before I forget is you have to click on this. You have to put a tick here so that it shows not only the angular lines 1, 4, 7, 10, but it also shows the parent. These are called parents, P-A-R-A-N-S, parents. Okay. It also shows the parents which are crossing at longitude, various longitudes. So it will show, and all the interpretation, if you click on this, it will give you the interpretation. If you click on this, it will give you the interpretation. So all the interpretations are given here. So you don't have to spend too much time on interpretation. Of course, this is a general interpretation, so you have to apply it to yourself. Okay. So you have all this. So this, if you want to make a relocated chart, whichever geographical position you have clicked on, it will give you the longitude, latitude, longitude here. So you put the same latitude, longitude in Jagannath Hora. You don't have to hunt. It's all given here. Okay. Okay. Now this is the next chart. Is it the next chart? No. Okay. After this, this is the chart. Now I have already told you that these are latitude lines. Okay. These are latitude lines and these lines are longitude lines. Okay. This line, for example, it shows, if you can read it here, it is 35 degrees north. This is given here, 35 degrees north. And here, this is 65 degrees east. 65 degrees east. So these vertical lines move from east to west like that. These vertical lines move like this. And these horizontal lines move north to south, upar niche, okay, up and down, north to south. These vertical lines move east to west, left to right, okay. If you see AC or AS, it means ascendant. It's exactly like the ascendant in the birth chart. If you see DC or DS, it means the descendant, which is exactly like the seventh house of a birth chart. If you see IC, it means Imam Kholi. Imam Kholi is called the lowest heaven. You know, the fourth house is the bottom of the chart, is the bottom of the chart, is the lowest point of the chart. And MC is medium Kholi, or it's called the mid heaven. It's like the 10th house of the horoscope, which is the highest point of the chart. Okay. So these are the various components of an ACG chart. Okay. Now, the most important thing, this is your birth chart in Delhi. This is your birth chart in Porbandar. This is your birth chart, relocated chart of Dusseldorf in Germany. Why did I take Dusseldorf in Germany? Because your sun is in the 10th house in Dusseldorf in Germany. Okay. So if you ever move to Dusseldorf in Germany, you may do well with your profession. Okay. You might get recognition. Sun in the 10th house is a very potent position for your profession. Okay. So I've made all the important thing for you to note, Yuvank, is no planet is changing position whether you are in Delhi or Germany. Planets are exactly in the same degrees, degree, minutes, seconds, exactly the same for everything. Only the Lagna changes. Only the Lagna changes. Always remember, in ACG only Lagna will change. Planets cannot change. Planets will, because the Lagna changes, your house changes. But the sign doesn't change. So if the sun is in Cancer here, sun is in Cancer here, sun is in Cancer here. Okay, but the house changes. In Germany, you become a Libra Lagna. Okay, Libra Lagna, which means the sun moves into the 10th house. Sun in for Libra Lagna, your sun will become the 10th house. Correct? Because your sun is in Gemini.
No, my sun will be in the 11th. No, my sun is not in Gemini. My sun is in Cancer, so it will be in the 10th house.
No, currently your sun is in 8th house, isn't it?
Yeah, currently my sun is in 8th house. It is in Cancer.
With Libra Lagna, if your Lagna becomes Libra, then sun moves into your 10th house.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Sun is now in the 8th house in Cancer. Correct? Because your Lagna changes to Libra in Dusseldorf in Germany, that 8th house becomes your 10th house. So you have Sun, Saturn, and retrograde Mercury in your 10th house. Okay, but Sun in the 10th house gets directional strength. Okay, so Sun in the 10th house is a very good position. So you can improve the position of your planet. Okay, Sun in the 8th house versus Sun in the 10th house, the story is different. Okay. Okay. Now, you see how to interpret Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. Just remember, Uranus is the higher form of Mercury. Mercury is communication. Uranus is disruptive communication. Electric communication, it's like an electric shock. It's a very disruptive form of communication. So if you have Mercury, if you have Uranus in your 10th house, MC, sudden career changes. Sudden career changes. If you have Uranus in your IC, which means 4th house, restless home life, exploring, looking for freedom in home life. If you have Uranus in your 1st house, AS, then you have a very eccentric personality. Okay. If you have Uranus in your DS, which means the 7th house, then you have unusual relationships. Okay, you have to learn Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Neptune in 10th house, confusion in career. Neptune in 4th house, confusion in home life. Neptune in ascendant, mystical aura, mystical personality, but can also lead to alcoholism. Okay. Neptune in DS, which means the 7th house, confusing partnerships. Pluto in the 10th house, MC. Your career will keep on getting transformed. Pluto is the higher form of Mars. Neptune is the higher form of Venus. Okay. Pluto transforms profession if it's in the 10th house. In the 4th house, it transforms your home life. In the ascendant, Pluto gives a magnetic personality. Okay. Difficult to handle personality. Pluto in the descendant, your home life is very, very transformative. Okay. Now, Chiron is a very different planet. Not many people know about Chiron, but Chiron is a healer. It's a healing planet. Okay, it heals. And Chiron in the mythology was somebody who was very wounded. Okay, he got hurt and wounded. So if you have Chiron in the 10th house, you could become a healer or you could heal somebody. Okay, so for example, you can be in the counseling profession, okay, where you have to counsel people, or you could be a doctor or things like that. In the IC, which is the 4th house, you could be a very nurturing person in the family. Okay, your own wounds your own psychological wounds may surface in the home life or may be connected with the home life. Okay, Chiron in the ascendant may give you where is that? I've not got the it's there. Chiron in the Chiron in the 4th house may give family wounds. Chiron in the ascendant may give you a healer like image, and Chiron in the descendant can lead to wounds from partnership, or it can lead you to cure the wounds that arise out of partnerships. Okay. Now, Yuvank, the thing is, for example, I told you your best place for education in India lies in Porbandar in Gujarat. It is quite possible you have not even heard of Porbandar. Have you heard of Porbandar?
I heard it, Gandhiji's, when I was reading the book,
Ah.
his autobiography.
So you don't know much about Porbandar. So if I suddenly tell you Porbandar, you say, where is Porbandar? I know it's connected with Gandhiji, but I don't know exactly where it is. Gujarat mein, Maharashtra mein, I don't know. Somewhere it is there somewhere. Okay. So from Bareilly to Porbandar, it's not going to, even if I tell you it's a great place for you to study, okay, and you decide to go to Porbandar, but it's not going to be easy to move from Uttar Pradesh to Gujarat, okay, and not only Gujarat, but it's a fairly remote desert area of Gujarat, okay, but it's a nice town, nevertheless, okay. But your education will prosper there, but you can't go there easily. It's not an easy decision to make. So how can you get the energy of Porbandar into your life in Bareilly? You travel to Porbandar for a short trip, holiday, vacation, whatever. You adopt the customs of people in Porbandar. You cook or you eat the food that people eat in Porbandar. You read a lot about Porbandar. You watch movies of famous people from that region. You can do many things to bring Porbandar into your life in Bareilly, which means the energies of Porbandar will come into your life in Bareilly, which means your education will improve in Bareilly. But you have to do all this. It's not, it's not like moving to Porbandar, but at least 20-30% energies if you get from Porbandar, which is very strong for your education, whereas which has Mercury in the 10th house cusp, then it's good for you without going there. The least you can do is learn Gujarati. Okay. Learn Gujarati a little bit. I'm sure you will find some Gujarati students there. Learn, tell them. teach me some Gujarati, or eat in a Gujarati restaurant, Gujarati food, whatever. Connect yourself with Porbandar. Connect yourself with Dusseldorf at some point of time when you start your career. Connect yourself. How to connect with Dusseldorf? Learn German. Okay. Today it's easy to go to Germany. If you know German, it will be very useful. Okay. So you cannot always move to the place which is best for you, but you can get the energy of that place to your current place. Okay. By doing all these things. Conclusion. Even if you can relocate to Porbandar, even if you get admission in Porbandar, you should not immediately jump. You should test. If you get a chance to go to Porbandar and spend 1 week vacation in Porbandar, do that. See how I feel in Porbandar. Okay. Do I feel more intellectually competent in Porbandar? Is my mental state better in Porbandar than in Bareilly? Okay. You will feel it. You will feel the energy of that location. If you feel that the energy is good, you can consider relocating. When should you go to Porbandar to test it? Go during Nakshatra Pravesh dates. Go during Tithi Pravesh dates, Tithi, monthly Tithi or yearly Tithi. Go on solar return dates. Okay. And I've already told you, cook and eat the cuisine of that location, read about the location, watch movies about that location, and bring that location into your life wherever you are. Okay. So, Yuvank, through this, I just want to conclude by saying that astrocartography can add value to astrology. Okay. In a way, you cannot use astrology. Astrocartography can give you that information about specific towns, cities, and countries, which is going to be extremely useful for you to make a call on various places. Where should I go? It is very easy to practice astrocartography. It does not need years of experience. You go to this calculator, everything is described, everything is given. Spend a week with this concept, and at the end of the week, you will be able to kind of, use this calculator on your own. Okay. So I hope I've been able to explain astrocartography to you in a nutshell and in a way that you can use it.
Yeah, it is absolutely interesting and amazing. That without the last part, without relocating, because for some people relocating over there, it is quite difficult. They can use it.
Yes.